Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, OP, who has been married for 12 years, met his wife at a Halloween party. After dating for 2 years, they wed and had a son. However, their relationship ended after his wife had an affair, leading to their separation. They now share custody of their son while navigating co-parenting. Now let's get into the story. I, 26 male, met my girlfriend, 24 female, through a dating app 3 years ago. We were only supposed to meet up as a quick hookup, but we found that we were very compatible with each other. We started casually seeing each other, and over time the relationship changed. We started getting to know more about each other, and we ended up becoming official. When we started dating, we went out every weekend. We had a ton of friends, and we would go out drinking with them, and we were involved in a ton of drama. It was just normal young fun stuff. About a year ago, I was going through some things with my mental health. As a result, I have a hard time being around a lot of people. I went from being the extroverted life of the party to being extremely reserved and anxious. I never wanted to impose any of my mental health issues on my girlfriend. I didn't think it was fair to her. So, if she still wanted to go out with her friends and have a good time, I encouraged her to do it. I was fine staying back and hearing all about it when she returned. After a few months, my girlfriend started to behave differently toward me. I was already having a lot of issues, but I started to feel like I was a burden on her. I knew that she wanted somebody who could go on adventures and do exciting things, but that wasn't something that I had in me at the time. I was already feeling very vulnerable about everything, so the way she was behaving toward me made it all the worse. She was very cold and distant, and whenever I would bring up something, it seemed like she was completely disinterested in it. I would start talking about work or how a counseling session went, and she would pull up her phone and start scrolling on social media. It made me feel like I was invisible. Around that time, she started going out more often. Before I was going through, we went out every weekend. Afterward, she would stay home with me on Friday nights and go out on the occasional Saturday. Suddenly, she started disregarding me entirely and going out on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. I tried to talk to her about it, but she reframed the entire situation to make it seem like I was the bad guy for wanting to spend time with her. The sad thing is, at the time I thought that was the case. I genuinely believed that I was being way too clingy and I was only damaging the relationship. So I shut my mouth after that. I never would have assumed that she would cheat on me though. I thought we loved each other and I understood that she wasn't ready to give up a big part of her youth for me. When my girlfriend goes out to the club, she gets all dressed up for it. She wears a nice outfit and a full face of makeup and steals the show wherever she goes. One important thing to note is that my girlfriend is very diligent with her skincare, and wearing makeup any longer than she needs to is an absolute no-go. There have been times when we have been nearly blackout drunk, and she has made sure to wash her face before going to sleep. One weekend, one of my good friends was throwing a bachelor party. It was just going to be a bunch of us renting a cabin and spending some time hunting and fishing. It had been quite some time since I had seen all of my friends together, so I decided to go. While I was away, my girlfriend did what she did every weekend. She and her friends got together and they went out. I didn't talk to her much over the weekend aside from checking in now and then telling her that I missed out on a few days. When I got home the following Sunday, I was worn out from the trip. I was around a lot of people and I was exhausted. I went right to the bed and plopped down to try and get some rest. I noticed that on her pillow there were a lot of makeup stains. First of all, she wouldn't sleep in makeup normally. Second of all, she had an expensive silk pillowcase that she was very careful with. I couldn't think of the reason why there would be makeup stains on it. The closer I looked at it, I could see that it looked like there was smudged lip gloss and things like that. The more I looked at it, I was able to paint a picture in my head about what happened. It raised some flags for me, thinking that it might have been something intimately related. Without getting into too much detail, I knew how she was in the bedroom, so it wasn't completely unfounded to think that was why there were makeup stains on the pillow. I didn't even want to think about her cheating on me. Unfortunately, I couldn't think of a better reason for the stains. However, I was able to get some makeup stains on her pillow. It was not something that I could confront her about. I just thought that I needed to keep an eye on things to see if I caught any more signs. Her behavior continued, and suddenly my eyes were completely open to why she might have been as distant as she was. I knew that was a telltale sign of somebody having an affair, and I had been too blind and distracted to notice it. I started looking through her Instagram accounts, and I noticed that she was following a lot of people that I didn't know. Most of them were guys too. I clicked on some of their profiles and saw that they were the types of guys that my girlfriend would normally go for. They went out often, and a couple of them even went to the club that my girlfriend frequented and had pictures tagged there. It was entirely possible that my girlfriend ran into some of these guys at the club and exchanged information. At the first chance that I had, I took a quick peek at her phone to see if I could confirm my suspicions. Unfortunately, I did. There was ample evidence that she had been hooking up with several different guys that she met at nightclubs. I saw that one of them invited him to our apartment when I was going away for the bachelor party. She told him that they would have the entire place to themselves, and they went into explicit details about all the things they were going to do, that even exchanged pictures. In some of the messages with the different guys, I saw her telling them that she had a boyfriend. She told some of them after she slept with them. One of them was angry that she lied to him. However, most of the other guys didn't seem to care. One of them asked about why she was cheating, and she told him that she didn't think we were compatible anymore, but she was too afraid to break up with me because I had issues. I just found out she cheated on me, so that was bad enough, but hearing her reasoning behind it stunned. I knew that what I was going through wasn't easy for her, but for her to use it as an excuse to cheat on me was cruel. One of our friends was having a birthday party at a local karaoke room, and I thought that a microphone and a spotlight would be the perfect time to tell everybody about my girlfriend. I RSVP'd, which I'm sure surprised a lot of people in her friend group. The day of the party finally came, and I signed up to perform a song toward the beginning of the party. When I got up there, instead of singing along to my song, I grabbed the mic and broke up with my girlfriend. She was shocked, but I think she was offended more than anything. She laughed at me and told me to get off the stage. I explained to everybody else in the room what I discovered and how she was only staying with me because of my issues. I could see the demeanor of a lot of the people in the room shifting when I said that. I think because of what I was going through, they had a lot of sympathy for me. I wasn't looking for that, but if it made them look at her like some big villain, then it was fine. My girlfriend ran up on the stage and started causing a scene in front of everybody, and eventually, one of our friends got in the middle of us and took the mic. They brought me off the stage and took me off to the side to talk. My girlfriend came in and interrupted us. She was embarrassed about everything that I had just done. She said that everybody in the room was looking at her like she was a monster and that I had no right to go through her belongings. I just told her that she had been lying to me and cheating on me, and I didn't care. She explained that she was cheating on me because I wasn't the person she agreed to be with. I changed so much, and she didn't want to be with me in the state that I was in. She said that she was nervous about breaking up with me because I seemed to be so fragile, so instead she decided to cheat on me. The thing is, I can understand where she was coming from a little bit. However, she was so careless with her affair that it would have been impossible for me to ignore it forever. She didn't think through what she was doing. She was trying to frame it like she cheated on me to protect me, but I don't think that was the case. I told her that I would be moving out of the apartment, and I didn't give her any chance to try and talk to me about that. I got my stuff out of there the next day and stayed with a friend of mine until I found another place to live. That friend told me that pretty much everybody had been avoiding her because of what she did. They all thought she was awful and manipulative. People were calling her a narcissist, and I think it opened the floodgates for everybody who didn't like her to voice their own opinions about her. That was several years ago. I'm much happier now, and I'm glad that ended. If it hadn't, I thought I was going to marry her, and the entire situation would have been so much worse. I'm with a fantastic girl now, and I'm able to trust her. It took some time to get there, but I think I found the right person now. Today's second story. In this story, After 2 decades of marriage and 3 children, OP discovered his wife was having an affair with an older coworker. Their marriage ended in divorce, and while he focused on rebuilding his life, his ex-wife was betrayed by her affair partner. Now, he's thriving and ready for the future, with no intention of looking back. Now let's get into the story. My now ex-wife 38 and I 38 male were together for 20 years. The two of us got together in our first year of college and were inseparable since the moment we started dating. High school and college sweethearts don't always end up in a long-term relationship, but I was confident that if anyone could make it work, it would be the two of us. After our college graduation, I popped the question and we got married soon after. Fast forward 16 years and 3 children later, our life was something that I would say was crafted out of a fairy tale. It wasn't perfect, but no relationship was perfect. It was a little while after our 20th anniversary when I started to notice odd things happening with my then wife. She was acting as you typically expect cheaters to act: sneaky, touchy, mean, and just uninterested in our marriage and family. We've been married for a long time, so slumps could happen. I try to brush it off and just give it time. One time I went so far as to suggest counseling, but this was shut down as soon as I suggested it. She claimed we didn't need therapy because everything was fine. So I went online and started searching for reasons she might be like this. A lot of what I found suggested that she might be cheating. I didn't want to believe it, but it would explain all of the strange behavior. One night after we went to bed, I grabbed her phone from her nightstand and broke into it. My wife was a heavy sleeper, so she didn't even twitch. I figured out her password on the second try before heading straight to the text messages. There were numerous text messages with this guy I knew as her longtime coworker. However, as far as I knew, they had never been close. They would have no reason to have so much contact with each other. This was suspicious, so I checked out the text messages between them. It was that night I discovered the affair between my wife and her older coworker. I never thought I'd have to worry about someone nearly 2 decades older than me who was not in shape and had a receding hairline. Yet here I was. I could not fathom what my wife saw in him, but there was no denying something had to be pulling her to him. Cheating was one of those deal breakers for me. As far as I was concerned, the marriage was over. That night I slept on the couch. When my wife confronted me the next morning for sleeping downstairs, I turned around and confronted her about the affair. She turned as white as a sheet. At first, she tried denying it until I showed her the phone I had broken into. The woman had the actual audacity to be angry about me invading her privacy. I told her it was worth invading her privacy for a little peace of mind. At first, my wife did seem to want to repair the relationship, but after it became clear I was going to go forward with a divorce, she decided it wasn't worth it. About a month after I filed for divorce, she moved out and started seeing the AP she was cheating on me with. The divorce wasn't a particularly nasty one. We were able to agree on custody, who would get what, etc. I think both of us just wanted it to be over with. The reason I wanted it over is because I wanted to be free and no longer tied down to her, while my now ex wanted it done so she could ride off into the sunset with her cork-returned AP. I kept myself on a need-to-know basis with my ex after that. The only time we communicated was about the divorce or our children. There were parenting apps you could use to communicate with the other parent, which kept things simple. Luckily, she didn't protest with us using that as our primary method of communicating. Our kids had a hard time with it as any child would. I could only tell them so much about why the marriage ended and tried very much to keep it not only age-appropriate, but also kid-friendly. As much as I disliked my ex, she was a good mother to our 3 children. This was probably one of her only redeeming qualities. Soon a year passed and our divorce was official. I focused on everything else in my life: my kids, job, friends, family, hobbies, etc. It did a good job of keeping me busy and not thinking about why my wife decided to blow up our marriage the way she did. The only logical explanation was that she was always a terrible person but didn't show it until then. I was honestly okay with that. My wife remained with the affair partner. It seemed to be working out until it wasn't, and when it blew up in her face, she came to me with tears in her eyes. The night it happened, She called me asking if I could have the kids again overnight even though it was her turn. I didn't mind because I loved spending time with my kids and didn't have any plans either. So I said yes, but asked what was going on because I could hear that she had been crying. She told me that karma was a pain and had finally come for her. Her affair partner had cheated on her with someone who was a decade younger than my ex. This was discovered after she went through his phone while he was in jail. The shower. I have no idea why she told me this. Maybe she thought I would feel some pity for her, or in some bizarre world, try to rekindle things with her again. The joke was on my ex because I had already been seeing someone for the past few months, and I was crazy about them. She ended up asking for forgiveness again at the end of the conversation. I told her no, she hadn't earned that forgiveness even if she was feeling exactly what I felt when I discovered that she was cheating on me. Cue the wailing. I cut the call short, agreeing to take the kids for the weekend so she could gather herself and figure out what she wanted to do about this guy. It would be better for my kids not to be there for all that drama anyway. The most important thing was keeping them away from all of that crap to the best of my ability. It would be a lie if I didn't admit that hearing him go on and do the same thing to her only with a younger woman did make me feel a little better. I was always frustrated because my ex never seemed to understand why I was so hurt. Now she knew why, and when the shoe was on the other foot. It wasn't a very fun place to be. From what I know, the two of them are still together, but the trust is just gone. Honestly, that's the most hilarious thing I have ever heard, because how could you have trust in a relationship that started as an affair? My ex, Gaba, was coming to her. I don't wish her any physical harm, of course, as she is the mother of my children, but some karmic retribution. I wish her all of that and more. If she ends up trying to complain to me again, I'm just going to cut her off before she has a chance to tell me anything. I don't want to know and don't care to know. The sooner my ex gets that through her head, the better off all of us will be.